The history behind mercury fillings is interesting. In the 1800s, there was no such thing as a dentist. Doctors did dentistry and barbers did dentistry. People were already sitting back in the barber chair, getting the shave, getting the haircut, whatever, and they started taking out teeth. Well, what these barbers figured out is that they can mix elemental mercury, the liquid stuff that's in a thermometer, that's elemental mercury. They could mix elemental mercury with metal shavings, and it was malleable at first. They could mold it in their fingers. They could press it into a cavity in a tooth, kind of smooth it off, have the person chew around a little bit, and it would harden. It was fabulous. It was a way to fill teeth because, again, like I said, teeth aren't easy to get out. These barbers were having to work pretty hard to do it. So these fillings were a really great innovation. The doctors that were doing dentistry at the time were concerned, however, because they had seen what happened with hat makers. Hat makers would take that same elemental mercury and would rub it on fur, and that's how they would turn fur into felt to make felt hats. What they were finding is that these hat makers were going mad. This is the beginning of the term Mad Hatter. So these hat makers were using the mercury to turn fur into felt, and it was making them go insane. The doctors made this connection and they said, we don't think it's a great idea to put elemental mercury into people's mouths because it's making people go insane. Well, the barbers were making money on it. They didn't really care. They continued placing mercury fillings. And the doctors said, well, if we're going to be in the dental business, I guess we need to jump on board. So they started placing mercury fillings as well. This is what the American Dental Association was founded on, was the advent or innovation of mercury fillings and bringing that to the United States, and really the start of the dental profession. So the FDA and the ADA will never change their stance, in my opinion, on mercury fillings. It's what they were founded on. And again, like I said, if they were to change their stance and say that they were dangerous or harmful to health, every dentist who's ever placed one would be in a class action lawsuit. So I don't believe will ever change their stance. This impacts what I can say and what I cannot say about these mercury fillings. I can actually lose my license if I tell you that it will change your health, that it will heal anything or cure anything. I cannot tell you to have your mercury fillings removed for health reasons. However, there are some things I can say. I can tell you that mercury is the most neurotoxic, non-radioactive element on the planet. It is more neurotoxic than arsenic or lead. I can tell you that mercury vapor is released from these fillings day and night, whether you're chewing or not. I can tell you that chewing, brushing, temperature increases, and even clenching have been shown to release this mercury vapor all day long. Many European countries have banned mercury fillings. The World Health Organization warned against the dangers of mercury exposure. The FDA and the ADA promote amalgam fillings as standard of care in the United States. So dentists placing them are doing so in good faith, believing in the efficacy, safety, cost effectiveness, and longevity of these fillings. It is simply a personal choice to have them removed or to leave them in your mouth. I can tell you, however, that they are bad for your teeth. The way the mercury fillings are retained in your tooth is from what we call mechanical retention. They're wedge-shaped. So if I were to drill your tooth in preparation to place a silver mercury filling, what I would do is I would undercut each of the cusps on your tooth. I would make it a wedge underneath there because the mercury filling doesn't have any glue to hold it in. It has to be held in because the tooth is holding it in. Unfortunately, metal expands and contracts with hot and cold. So as that metal filling inside your tooth that's been wedged in there gets hot, it expands. When it gets cold, it contracts. And eventually what it does is create a lot of cracks in your tooth surrounding that filling. It also, because there's no glue, creates a moat or a gap between the filling and the tooth itself. So every bacteria in your mouth can get between that filling and the tooth, and there's no way you can clean it. Every mercury filling that I remove has some kind of decay underneath if it's been in the mouth for any length of time. So I can tell you that you should most likely have mercury fillings removed for dental reasons to save and protect your teeth. Now, if you are going to choose to have your mercury fillings removed, please do it safely. It can almost be more harmful to have them removed than have them in their mouth if it's not done safely. The IAOMT, an organization that's particularly keen on this, they have set a standard of precautions that should be taken. These precautions are called the SMART precautions or SMART protocol for removal. There's some things that we do in our office. We follow all these SMART protocols. We use a big vacuum underneath your chin. We have a special covering that goes over your nose, that goes over your face to protect you from these things. I wear a crazy mask so that I'm protected while we do it. All of these things will decrease the amount of mercury exposure that you or any of the dental professionals you're working with will be exposed to when having those fillings removed. After removal, you need to take glutathione. Glutathione is the master antioxidant. It's going to bind to mercury and help you get rid of it. Another thing you can do is to increase the amount of cruciferous foods you're eating. So that's broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, nobody likes that one, kale. Those things can be taken to help remove the mercury as well. You can also take garlic oil. Chlorella is a great way to get rid of these things, and make sure that your kidneys are working, because that's where the mercury from fillings is removed through your urine. So make sure that your kidneys are operational and working well before you undertake any kind of a mercury removal protocol. So these are the hard things to discuss, things that we failed at in dentistry. Thankfully, we're finding some answers, and we have great ways to replace and redo what's been done to really help you regain your dental and overall health.